Morning, everybody, and welcome to this HJ Goes Live. I'm Charlotte, editor of Hairdressers Journal, and today we're joined by Olaplex and Mark Coates. And the title of this session is Olaplex in Salon, Your Questions Answered. We're going to be talking about everything Olaplex and everything that they offer in the salon, including how to use the products at the back bar, the standalone treatment, the new Chelating Treatment, the benefits of the client, and how to build Olaplex into your salon's pricing structure to increase profit. And Mark and I are laughing about Chelating Treatment and how to pronounce it. So I think I got it right.
You did get it right. You did get it right.
So a big thank you to Olaplex for supporting this session. And if you've got any questions during the live, just pop them in the chat. And even if you're watching this when it's not live, put them in the chat as well. And I'm sure Mark and the Olaplex team will get back to you. But without further ado, welcome, Mark. It's lovely to have you with us this morning. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, Charlotte. Thank you. I'm super excited to share with you some information on Olaplex, talk about the brand itself, and also talk about our newest launch, which is a new pro launch, which is Chelating, our broad spectrum Chelating treatment, as the full name goes.
Amazing. So I guess going back to the beginning, let's do a little timeline. How did Olaplex start, and why do you think it was so immediately loved by stylists? I mean, it was just like a whirlwind, wasn't it, when it came out?
So I think so it's 8 years old, right? It started 8 years ago, which is crazy because I think some brands take forever, right, to get established by stylists, also by clients, right? And that's the thing that's crazy about Olaplex actually as a brand, is it's something that the stylist loves, but clients ask for, right? They go into salon and ask for Olaplex treatments. And it started 8 years ago in Santa Barbara in a Californian garage. And it was the founder at the time was playing around with a chemist, and they basically came up with this formulation that, like, in a nutshell, without going into too much detail, that they gave to some stylists. The founder was not a hairdresser himself, but had like it in his blood, you know, like some families it's in their blood, but maybe they're not completely connected. And and he started to give it to stylists, and they found how amazing it was when they started using it in color, also in perm, actually, weirdly enough. And that was it. And then it was like this whole movement, really, from these stylists posting about it, talking about it. I mean, our original sort of social media started with UCG. It's all user-generated content by stylists, and there's still a high amount of that now. And actually, the social team that look after all of our social media are all hairdressers, and they were, you know, they're like what we call the OGs, right, the originals, and they were all hairdressers that kind of came onto the brand, that loved the brand and had this influence through social media. So that's really where it started, and that's still today why it's loved by stylists so much, I think.
And I guess you're one of the first brands to be kind of bringing on that UGC element with the key ambassadors and the advocates that you've got, and
yeah,
kind of helped grow the brand. What kind of content were they creating? How did they help grow the brand?
I mean, so it was so our ambassadors, there's 8 ambassadors, global ambassadors. Guy Tang is one of them, right? So that everyone will know, obviously. And funny enough, I was with him in Norway at the weekend. And he still has, you know, he has his own brands, but even on stage, he still talks about Olaplex with so much passion, right? And then in the UK, we have Samantha Cusack, who's our UK ambassador. And, you know, that UCG content really started with lots of before and afters. And that's where the brand kind of got this, you know, you could use it, you could take color to the next level, right? So you would have someone that's maybe dark and had color on her hair, and they would be bleaching it out. And by using Olaplex, they really pushed the boundary of what color could do, right? And that was really where this kind of excitement came. And actually, all of our UCG content is never, we don't allow it to be retouched. We don't retouch pictures. And if you look at our content, often you'll see a little thing that says not been retouched, because we really want to see that true before and after, so that you can see how much it really does change the way that the hair looks.
So it's that kind of sense of authenticity then that kind of made
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was definitely it was all about the stylist and bringing their authentic work and showing that authentic work to everybody, you know, out in that's looking at social media.
And what then are the key benefits if someone's watching this and hasn't used Olaplex before in the salon? How do you kind of translate what the key benefits are to them?
So it started with 2 products, number 1 and 2. They're actually behind me. They're like this
Gorgeous
side,
display, gorgeous.
over here. And they are you use them in color, okay, or you could use them in any chemical service actually. And the benefit of it is bond building, okay? And so what it does is it really looks at the disulfide bonds within the hair shaft. It goes deep, deep, deep inside the cortex. And it rebuilds those bonds, okay? So it gives the hair its strength, its integrity, and it really does change the way that the hair feels, right? So it feels so much better. It also, the great thing about it is we have over 100 patents in our technology, so it can't be copied, right? So, you know, there are other brands that have come onto the market that maybe do a similar thing, but they can't do what ours does. We were the first, right? We created the bond building category. We came out of nowhere. No one knew about us, right? And then 8 years on, we created this bond building category that, you know, really gave us our authenticity and our authority on bond building as well. And it contains all of our products contain a key ingredient, which is called bisamino propyl diglycoside. It's taken me a long time to learn that.
A round of applause is needed. I was struggling with chelating.
But we call it bisamino for short. Okay, so we always refer to it as bisamino because obviously it is a word that, you know, as an educator and our education team have to learn it, but we know that not everybody is going to be able to say that. So we say bisamino for short. And that's the key ingredient, right, that actually rebuilds those bonds deep inside the hair shaft.
Cool. And why we've kind of talked about the fact that it's so unique and it's unable to be replicated. How has the brand kind of adapted to those like challenger brands coming on the whatever plex coming onto the market?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I think we really stayed true to our authenticity, right? And we it's like any brand, right? There's always someone that comes on and does something similar, right? That's always the way. So I think what you have to do is really, really talk about what your brand does, how it has those key points of difference, and how it stands in the market, right? And I think one of the great things about Olaplex, as I said before, is we have this great UCG content. We have a huge Instagram following, like over 2 million followers on Instagram, right? And TikTok, I can't even tell you how many is on TikTok, which is terrible. I should know, but like we did a TikTok challenge, which was 8 billion views, right, on a challenge, and we've really engaged the consumer. And I worked on another brand when Olaplex first came out, right? And I remember saying to the salon where I was visiting, doing education, a friend of mine, I think you need to get that 3 people came in and asked if they did Olaplex, like 3 clients. And I said to him, you know what, I think you need to get Olaplex. Like, actually, it's people, like I said, they go in and ask for it, that it's recognized. And that's the great thing for us is it's clients go in, they ask for those products, they ask for the treatments, which in the world of hair, I think sometimes it's really hard to talk about treatments as a stylist. It's that extra step that you maybe don't always feel comfortable doing. And with Olaplex, clients ask for it, right? There are lots of celebrities that have talked about it in the past, and they often are quoted. And we never ever seed those people with products. It's not something that we really do, but often they will be quoted as saying, you know, my stylist uses Olaplex. That's what gives my hair the strength, or that means I can change it. So it's really interesting how it is almost driven by the stylist, but also driven by consumer as well, which is very interesting, I think.
Definitely. And in terms of, you touched on kind of the product offering at the back bar. So when clients go into Salon, what can salons, what can freelance stylists offer clients?
So we have 2 products that are the hero products, if you like, which was 1 and 2. They were the first products ever developed, and actually they were the products that I think, you know, originally there was the other products came on the back of those, right? Because like we never had a shampoo, and that kind of the thought process of having something like that was because the stylist wanted it and also the consumer wanted it. But so our first two products, I'm going to grab them because they are behind me. So this is our number one. This goes into color. And yeah, so it's a really, from a value point of view, it's actually lasts a long time because you only need, like, there's got these little bars on it, but depending on how much color you're using, you actually only need to put in, like where my finger is now, that's how much you would use on average on one application of color, right? So really, really small amount. And this is the most amount of bisamino in it. This is why it's this weird looking color. And that goes into the color, right? And that's the first step. And then the second step is the number two. So after you've done your color, you rinse, you give a light shampoo. We recommend you use our number 4, and then you apply this. And then this is our bond multiplier. You leave this on the hair 10 minutes. You rinse and then shampoo this out. And this really gives the hair its strength and integrity. Okay. And this goes inside the hair. You can also use this as a quick treatment on its own. So it can actually be used as a quick treatment. None of our products contain protein. That's an Olaplex myth, as we like to say. So it can't actually build up in the hair, but you could use this on its own as a quick treatment, like 10 minutes, just for that extra strength. Or you can use it as cutting lotion as well if you want to. So apply it, cut the hair, and then rinse it off. Actually use it on a beard as well. So like if someone's got a beard, you could use it on a beard for a beard like treatment as well. So perfect, right? And actually, you know, this, adding these into your product, you can add, depending where you are in the country, like anything between 15, actually, like Samantha charges nearly £50 for these in her color surfaces. And that's just normal. Like I'd say sort of at least 80% of her clients have these every time they have color, right, as part of their service. And you're not doing anything. It's literally just adding, you know, it's product, of course, but you're just adding them into your service. You're not really doing anything extra. And then we also have our 4-in-1, which is our moisture mask. So this is great as a hydrating treatment. You can use this on the hair, leave it on the hair 10 minutes. You can use this after any color service, or you could do it as a quick service at the backwash if the client was just coming in, having cut and blow dry. Maybe you need that extra hydration, great on curly hair. So that's the 3 products. And then actually, as we're talking about backbar, we might as well talk about our Chelating Treatment, which is our newest product to the line.
I've been waiting for.
So what we found is very much in the US originally. Okay, there was chelating has come from the US, right? That's where it actually started. A lot of salons did used. There's other brands on the market. And what it's interesting, but obviously water plays a big part in the way that our hair performs, either just generally, right? I'm sure like you're not you wouldn't be the first person to say when you go on holiday somewhere, oh, my hair feels really soft because of the water, or it feels like, oh my God, my hair feels terrible, right? Because of like the way the water feels, and it doesn't perform or style in the way that it normally does. And that's the case all over, right? So that's the case in every country in the world. And actually, if you can actually find information if you look on a map where you can see where some countries have really high deposits of minerals in their water. And that can affect the way that hair color works, actually. It can give you really uneven lifting. It can change the vibrancy on the hair. So all of that buildup that either is on the surface, or actually, this is a cortex level treatment. So it goes right inside. And what it does is it removes any metals, so any iron, copper, mineral buildup that's in the hair, will remove that. It'll also remove chlorine as well. So if someone has chlorine in their hair, it will remove that. So if you, Charlotte, went, you know, around the pool somewhere and all of a sudden you came back, you was a little bit green tingy, it would get rid of that, which, you know, let's be honest, that does happen, right? You do an amazing blonde and then she comes back 3 weeks later and you're like, what happened to your hair?
And everyone always wants to get their hair coloured before they go on holiday.
I know, right?
Like, why?
Yeah, exactly. Like, actually, it should be afterwards because you batter it for those 2-week periods, right? So it will remove that as well. Actually, also removes metallic salts. Now, I always say I have my Olaplex head on my hairdresser head, and my hairdresser head says, if you do use this and you do have metallic salts, and I actually had this consultation with Samantha the other week, and we were saying we'd still strand test just to make sure, just to be on that safe side, but it will remove metallic salts from the hair as well. So it's really good at literally taking everything, build up, oils. We've actually found that curly girls, So curly girls use a lot of product in their hair, right? And sometimes it just doesn't come out the way you want it to, even when you use a clarifying shampoo. And the great thing about this is it really does remove everything from the hair. It takes it all out. And then it gives you that clean canvas. So this you would use before either a chemical treatment or a treatment. Okay, so if you're doing color, you would use it before color, and then you just rinse and then just blast it and then do your color. If you're doing like perm or maybe keratin treatment, perfect for someone that's having keratin treatment. One of our distributors in the Middle East, they do a lot of keratin treatments. They've been using this and they said it's great for them, because what they find is when they do keratin treatments a few times, it's never as good as the first time, but by using this first and then doing the keratin treatments, almost like they started again. It works really, really well. So it's perfect for that as well. So it really does remove everything from the hair, giving you that clean canvas to then start doing your treatments. You can also use it before our standalone treatment as well. And it gives you better penetration of that treatment as well.
Wow. So it seems like it's quite easy to build Olaplex into a salon's pricing to increase profitability. Are there any other kind of hacks and tips and advice that you've got?
Yeah, I mean, like for all four products actually, but probably I would say this one, you know, the 4-in-1 is the one that would be where I would add those extra pounds, right? Like as an add-on. But actually, quite honestly, with Chelator and with the 1 and 2, for me, really, my top tip is if you're just taking the Olaplex, or if you're about to have a price increase, build Olaplex into your treatment service, right? I really believe, right, and I've said this for years actually, is that if you have any treatments, right, if you build them into your treatment service, so into your chemical services, color, highlights, balayage, whatever it might be, and say you add, I don't know, I'm just making this up, so like, don't shoot me, people, but say it was £200 that you were charging and you made it $225, right? That extra £25 that you added, you could word it in such a way that it's like highlights with complimentary Olaplex treatment, right? No one knows that you've just used that £25, which is the price of the treatment, right? No one knows that you've added that on. Everyone loves free stuff, right? Like everybody loves free stuff. We can't, you know, so if you can somehow put it into that wording, people think it's great, right? You would go in, Charlotte, and if someone said to you, I'm going to give you, you know, you're going to get a complimentary treatment as part of your service, you'd go and tell all of your friends, oh my God, I go to Mark's salon and he gives me a complimentary treatment every time I go in, right? They'd all want that complimentary treatment. It's almost like I always use the analogy of when you used to buy like shoes and they would ask you if you want the cleaner. You'd always say no, right? You'd say no, even though it might only be £5. You'd always go, no, I'm fine, thanks. If they told you, you know, like say your shoes were £50 and they said they're 55 and you get complimentary cleaner, you tell everybody that you got a free cleaner, right? You totally would. And I think if you can start to think about it like that, build it in, you're automatically making more money without actually having to ask for it.
And name dropping Olaplex as well into the service.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. You know, that's going to make a massive difference, right? Actually saying that you get that Olaplex in there, that's going to be amazing. They're going to really think, wow, I get free Olaplex in my services as well. It's really going to add to that. I think it's amazing.
Cool. Well, that's all my questions answered this morning, Mark. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I know how busy you are. And I hope that everyone's questions answered about Olaplex as well this morning. And like we said earlier, just drop any questions into the chat on Facebook. You'll see this on Instagram tomorrow and on YouTube as well. So do ask away any questions, big or small, no matter how silly you think that they are, because no question is a stupid question.
No, exactly. I was just going to say that. No question is a stupid question. Exactly.
It's been great. And I've learned how to say collating. So it's been a successful morning for me. I'm not ready to say, what was the longer word that you said earlier?
Bisamino propyl dimaleate. Next time I see you, I'm gonna ask you to say that.
I'll see you at Salon on the Monday, and I'll be
yes.
Oh, it was lovely to chat to you, Mark. Thank you so much for your time, and
you're welcome.
Bye, everyone.
All right, Angie, take care. All right, bye.